The room pulses with the low hum of mingling voices and clinking glasses. I scan the crowd, a sea of tailored suits and glittering dresses, all under the soft glow of chandeliers that cast a golden sheen over the bustling party. My wife, Lara, floats through the crowd, laughter trailing behind her like a melody. She wears a red dress that clings to every curve, a stark contrast to the subdued tones around her. My eyes follow her every move, not out of admiration tonight, but surveillance. We've been the picture of marital success to our friends, the charming tech entrepreneur and his vibrant socialite wife. Yet as I watch her now, something feels off. Her smiles are too bright, her laughs a touch too forced. It's as if she's performing for an audience she desperately needs to impress. I'm pulled from my thoughts as a hand claps my shoulder. I turn to find Mark, a casual acquaintance whose smirk I've never trusted. He leans in, his breath tainted with the scent of whiskey and entitlement. "Great party, huh?" He slurs slightly, his eyes darting toward Lara. "Yeah, she outdoes herself," I reply, my tone flat, trying to step away, but he grips my shoulder tighter. "You know," he starts, glancing around before fixing his gaze back on me. His next words come in a hushed, venomous rush. "I want to use your wife while you watch." The room spins slightly, the ambient sounds of the party fading into a muffled echo. Rage tightens my chest, and for a moment, I can barely breathe. How dare he? My fist clenches at my side, but I hold back. Instead, I smile, a cold, hard stretch of my lips that doesn't reach my eyes. "Excuse me," I murmur, shrugging off his hand. "I need a moment, just a moment to think, to plan." I walk away, the sound of my heart thudding loud in my ears, mingling with the murmur of the crowd. I slip through the groups of laughing guests and out onto the terrace, the cool night air hitting my face like a slap. 5 minutes. I give myself 5 minutes to cool down, to collect my thoughts, to form a plan. When I return, the shift in the atmosphere is palpable. Conversations falter as I walk in. Eyes follow me, wide with a mix of curiosity and concern. They sense a storm brewing. I feel their gazes, but my focus is on finding Mark. I spot him by the bar, a glass in his hand, still watching Lara with that disgusting leer. I stride over, my steps measured, my mind racing. As I reach him, I pull out my phone, holding it up between us. His face blanches as he sees the screen, a live feed from the security camera in our bedroom, her intimate sanctuary she so willingly shared with him. "Now," I say, my voice low and steady, "you will do what I say." The room holds its breath, waiting for his response. In the stillness of my study, I sit alone, the weight of Mark's lecherous words still fresh in my ears. My fingers brush over the keys of my laptop, a plan slowly forming. I need evidence. If I'm to bring both of them down, it can't be through blind rage. I need cold, hard proof. I start where most secrets find light: her phone. I've installed a tracking app on Laura's smartphone, one that mirrors all her texts, calls, and even her locations. As the data populates my screen, her betrayal unfolds like a grotesque tapestry. Texts to Mark detailing their trysts, their plans to meet in secret when I'm supposed to be on business trips. Each message is a dagger, but also a building block to their downfall. One text catches my eye. "He'll be at the conference next week. We'll have the house to ourselves." My blood chills. Not only are they using my absence to indulge in their affair, but they're plotting something deeper, something malicious. They intend to clean out our joint accounts while I'm away. It's not just adultery, it's a coup. My next step is hiring a private investigator. I choose an old contact, a guy who's discreet and ruthless with his methods. "I need everything," I tell him over the phone, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. "Photos, videos, financial transactions, anything you can get on my wife and Mark." The days that follow are a blur of anticipation and dread. I'm playing a waiting game, every chime of my email notification a potential bombshell. Finally, the PI comes through, a dossier filled with photos of Lara and Mark. Too close, too personal. Their text logs, their financial transactions from my account to hers, and then to an account only Mark controls. The complexity of their scheme becomes apparent. They plan to siphon the money slowly, in increments, under the guise of renovation expenses for our home. But there's a bigger play. A document left carelessly on our home printer, a proposal for a hefty life insurance policy on me, with Laura as the sole beneficiary. It's more than infidelity. It's a prelude to potential ruin or worse. Armed with the dossier, I confront Laura, not with the fury of a scorned husband, but with the calm of a chess master cornering a king. We're in our living room, a room once filled with laughter and love, now just a cold stage for confrontation. "Laura," I begin as she turns, her expression a mask of feigned innocence. "I know about Mark. I know about everything." I toss the dossier onto the coffee table. It lands with a thud, the sound seemingly echoing off the walls. She freezes, eyes wide, her mouth opens, but no words come out. Then a switch flips. Her posture straightens, her face hardens. "You don't understand. It's not what you think," she starts, her voice shaky but gaining strength. "Oh, I think I do," I interrupt, my voice low, my eyes locked on hers. "It's exactly what I think. You're planning to leave me penniless, or worse." The conversation spirals, a dance of accusation and weak justification. She tries to explain, to diminish her actions, but the evidence is too damning, the betrayal too deep. She finally breaks down, tears streaming down her face, sobs racking her body. "I didn't know it would go this far," she cries. "It was supposed to just be a fling." I don't yield. "And the money? The insurance?" I press, needing her to articulate the depth of her deceit. She wipes her eyes, looking up at me with a mixture of fear and remorse. I was scared. Mark, he convinced me. He said we needed a safety net." The revelation doesn't soften my resolve, but it clarifies the enemy. Mark isn't just a home wrecker. He's a manipulator, a con artist. But he's not dealing with the gullible or the weak. He's dealing with me. I leave Laura sobbing on the couch, a broken figure drowned in her deceit. I need to be strategic. Anger won't win this war. I need to be as cold and calculating as they plan to be. The next few weeks are a tactical game. I feed false information about my movements, about my finances. I strengthen my security, change passwords, move funds. Each action is a calculated step to fortify my position while planning their downfall. The day before the conference, I stage a ruse. I tell Laura I'm leaving for the trip, my suitcase packed, my demeanor unreadable. But I don't head to the airport. I drive around, killing time, then check into a hotel just a mile from our home. From my vantage point, I command my forces, the PI now surveilling the house, the tech security firm monitoring all digital footprints, everything converging on what happens next. If they take the bait, I'll have them. If not, I'm no worse off. That night, the PI's texts come in rapid succession. "They're moving," he writes. "Looks like they're going for the safe." The safe, where I've left documents and a little cash. Bait in a well-laid trap. It's enough proof if they take it, enough for the police, enough for a judge. I wait, the hotel room suffocating, each tick of the clock a hammer against my skull. Then the final message. "Got it." They took the bait. A smile, cold and devoid of any joy, spreads across my face. Now it's my turn. Now they will learn what it means to betray me. Now I make them pay. The crisp night air bites at my skin as I leave the dim warmth of the hotel and make my way back home. With each step, my resolve hardens. The sting of betrayal fuels my strides. My mind races, not with fear, but with the meticulous precision of a strategist closing in on a checkmate. I arrive just in time to see the lights still on, the shadows of Laura and Mark flickering through the curtains. They believe they're alone, reveling in their deceit, convinced they have outmaneuvered me. The darkness cloaks my approach as I slip through the unlocked door. Familiar, yet now strangely foreign. Inside, the air is thick with the scent of their betrayal. Low murmurs drift from the living room, the tone conspiratorial. I pause, listening, the weight of the evidence in my pocket grounding me. The private investigator's photos, the recordings, the stolen items from the safe, they are all pieces of a puzzle that, once presented, will leave no room for doubt or denial. I step into the room, my presence slicing through their whispers like a sharp blade. They turn, startled, their faces a mix of guilt and fear. Mark's arrogance has evaporated, replaced by the realization that he has underestimated his opponent. Laura's eyes are wide, her earlier defiance dissolved into desperation. "Enjoying yourselves?" I ask, my voice dripping with contempt. The simplicity of the question belies the complexity of my emotions. Anger, hurt, but above all, a cold detachment necessary for what must be done. Mark recovers first, his voice oily. "Look, we can explain." "Save it," I cut him off, stepping closer, my phone in hand, the recordings ready. "I've seen enough, heard enough, and tonight I caught you red-handed." I toss the photos and documents onto the coffee table. They scatter like the pieces of the life I once thought we shared. Laura reaches out, her hand trembling. "Please, it's not what it looks like. We didn't mean—" "You didn't mean to get caught," I finish for her, my voice steely. "But you did, and now you'll face the consequences." I see the panic rise in her, the realization that the game is over. Mark, too, understands the gravity of the situation. He starts to bluster, to threaten. "You can't prove anything. It's your word against ours." Smiling thinly, I pull out my final card, the video from the PI showing them breaking into the safe. Not just my word, evidence, hard evidence that will stand up in any court. Their defiance crumbles, their plans unraveling before their eyes. It's not just the threat of legal action that breaks them, it's the exposure, the public humiliation that will follow. Their reputations, their social standings, their careers, nothing will remain unscathed. I leave them there, amidst the ruins of their conspiracy, and call my lawyer, setting in motion the legal and financial retribution that awaits them. The night drags on, hours spent in sterile offices, discussing strategies and outcomes. My lawyer, a seasoned shark in the legal waters, assures me the evidence is damning. By dawn, the initial steps are taken. Banks are notified, accounts are frozen, and the first legal notices are served. The community will wake to a scandal, the sordid details splashed across social media and whispered in hushed tones. In the midst of this, I return home, the house silent and empty. Laura has left, perhaps to seek solace with the only ally she has left, but even that relationship now tainted with the stench of public disgrace. I walk through the rooms, each corner a reminder of the life that was supposed to be. The pain is there, a dull ache, but it's overshadowed by a sense of vindication. They believed they could manipulate me, use me, but they were wrong. The coming days are a flurry of legal battles, meetings with investigators, and consultations with financial advisors. The evidence I provide is indisputable, leaving Laura and Mark with little room to maneuver. The community watches, initially in shock, then with a morbid fascination as the details of their plot are laid bare. My business, too, feels the ripple effects. Rumors swirl, partnerships strain. I hold numerous meetings, reassuring colleagues and clients of the stability and integrity of my operations. Slowly the tide turns. Sympathy and support replace suspicion, the narrative shifting from victimhood to resilience. Through it all, I maintain a facade of stoic calm, but inside the turmoil is relentless. Sleepless nights are spent replaying the betrayal, analyzing every moment of our marriage, wondering how I missed the signs. My heart hardens. The emotional bonds that once tethered me to Laura, now severed cleanly. Yet amidst the legal victories and restored public image, a more personal battle wages within. The confrontation with Laura and Mark was a climax, not a resolution. The true conflict lies ahead, navigating the debris of a shattered relationship and a tarnished soul. As I brace for the continuation of this fight, I am fortified by the righteousness of my cause. They tried to destroy me, but instead they revealed the strength I had all along. The road ahead is uncertain, fraught with challenges both legal and personal, but I am ready. For in their betrayal, they have unwittingly forged a man who will no longer be manipulated or underestimated. The story, then, is far from over. The legal skirmishes will escalate, the personal revelations will deepen, and the quest for a new equilibrium will be arduous. But the stage is set, the players defined, and the stakes clear. And I, once merely a participant in their twisted game, am now the architect of their undoing. The courthouse looms large as I approach, its imposing stone facade a stark backdrop to the turmoil simmering within me. Today is more than a reckoning. It's a public unmasking of the treachery Laura and Mark wove so expertly behind closed doors. My steps echo on the marble floors, each sound a sharp reminder of the gravity of what's to unfold. I'm ushered into a bustling courtroom, the air thick with anticipation. Reporters huddle in corners, whispering, their eyes keen and calculating. They smell a story that will feast on headlines. I find my seat, the wooden bench hard against my back, a physical discomfort that pales in comparison to the emotional tumult churning inside me. As the room settles, the judge enters, a figure of authority who carries the weight of justice with an unwavering demeanor. The gavel strikes, a sound that cuts through the murmurs, commanding silence. Court is now in session, the judge announces, his voice echoing off the high ceilings. The case before us is laid bare, not just a divorce, but allegations of fraud and conspiracy. Laura sits across the aisle, her posture rigid, her face a mask hiding the storm beneath. Next to her, Mark appears less composed, his usual arrogance replaced by a nervous twitching of his leg. The proceedings start with the prosecution outlining the depth of their deceit. The evidence is presented meticulously. Bank records, photographs, video footage, all painting a damning picture of their actions. Each piece feels like a vindication of my suspicions, a confirmation of the betrayal that gutted my life. I am called to the witness stand, a moment I've rehearsed mentally countless times. My voice is steady as I recount the events, from the shocking revelation at the party to the clandestine operations they believed hidden. My words are not just testimony, they are an expulsion of the betrayal that has festered within me. The cross-examination is brutal. Laura's lawyer is a seasoned litigator, his questions sharp, designed to unsettle. But I am unflinching, my resolve forged in the fire of their deceit. "Isn't it true you invaded your wife's privacy?" he challenges. "I sought the truth in a house built on lies," I retort, my gaze steady, meeting Laura's for a fleeting moment. Her eyes flicker, a crack in her facade. As the hours stretch, the narrative unfolds, a saga of greed and infidelity. Witnesses corroborate the timeline, experts testify about the financial manipulations, and the evidence mounts. The courtroom drama intensifies, each testimony a thread in the tapestry of their scheme. During a recess, I step outside, the cool air a brief respite from the stifling tension of the courtroom. The sky is overcast, the heavy clouds mirroring the oppression of the day. I close my eyes, allowing myself a moment of vulnerability. The weight of the public spectacle, the exposure of our private lives, it's a necessary purge but exhausting. When the trial resumes, the focus shifts to the defense. Laura takes the stand, her voice a soft contrast to the crisp questions of her attorney. She paints a picture of confusion and manipulation, casting herself as a victim of Mark's influence. "I was lost," she confesses, her eyes welling with tears. "He promised love but led me into darkness." Mark's testimony is less effective, his explanations tangled as he tries to deflect the blame. The evidence, however, speaks louder than his words. His faltering only cements his role as the architect of the deception. The climax comes when the prosecution presents a final piece of evidence, a recorded conversation between Laura and Mark, plotting their next move after my supposed financial ruin. Their voices, clear and calculating, fill the room, leaving no space for doubt. The jury's deliberation feels interminable. The courthouse clocks tick loudly, marking the passage of time, each minute stretching into eternity. When they finally return, the tension in the courtroom is palpable. "We find the defendants guilty of fraud and conspiracy," the foreman declares, his words a gavel of their own, sealing their fate. Relief washes over me, mingled with a profound exhaustion. Justice has been served, their plans thwarted, their futures irrevocably altered. But as I look at Laura, her face stricken, I realize the victory is bittersweet. The woman I once loved is now nothing more than a stranger, a co-conspirator in her own downfall. The judge's voice brings me back to the present, sentencing them to hefty fines and probation. "Let this be a lesson in the consequences of greed and betrayal," he intones, a final note in the saga that consumed us. As the courtroom empties, the reporters rush to capture the reactions, the winners and losers in this public spectacle. I avoid their lenses and questions, my story too complex for their soundbites. Outside, the sky begins to clear, the departing clouds revealing a hint of blue. It feels symbolic, the possibility of a fresh start. As I walk away from the courthouse, the burden of the past months begins to lift. The road ahead is uncertain, lined with the debris of a shattered relationship and a tarnished reputation. But it's a path I now walk with a clearer vision and a lighter heart. The trial not just a conclusion, but a gateway to a new chapter. My journey is far from over, the healing only just beginning. But as I step into the burgeoning daylight, I feel the promise of renewal, the first tentative steps towards redemption and rebirth. In the aftermath of the trial, the dust settles on the tumultuous events that have upended my life. The verdict has been delivered, the gavel has fallen, but the echoes of the courtroom battles still ring in my ears. As I begin the laborious process of piecing together the fragments of my disrupted world, I find solace in the solitude of my home, now starkly empty without Lara's presence. My first task is an exhaustive examination of my financial standing. With Mark and Lara's designs thwarted, it's time to secure what remains and rebuild what was lost. I spend days poring over accounts, consulting with financial advisors, ensuring that every asset is accounted for, every penny safeguarded against further deceit. The numbers on the screen are cold and impersonal, yet each figure is a testament to the resilience needed to weather this storm. In the quiet of my office, I also undertake a different kind of accounting, an introspective journey through the emotional wreckage. The betrayal has left a deep scar, one that throbs with the memory of every lie, every secret rendezvous I unearthed. I grapple with the remnants of love I still feel, mingled with the bitterness of betrayal. It's a potent, painful mix that requires careful, deliberate healing. Amidst this personal reckoning, I also face the practical consequences of the public scandal. My business, once a beacon of innovation and success, has suffered under the weight of the trial's revelations. Clients are wary, partnerships strained, and my professional reputation hangs in the balance. I initiate meetings, not just to reassure, but to demonstrate a renewed commitment to integrity and excellence. I present myself not as a victim, but as a victor who has overcome personal and professional challenges with dignity. Rebuilding trust is a slow, arduous process. Each meeting, each handshake is a step towards redemption, an opportunity to reshape perceptions. The dialogues are candid, sometimes uncomfortably so, as I address the elephant in the room with a directness that earns me respect, even admiration. My personal life undergoes a similar transformation. The empty spaces in my home are filled with new interests and hobbies, pursuits that had been sidelined in the whirlwind of my former life. Photography, once a passion, now serves as a therapeutic outlet, capturing moments of beauty and tranquility that contrast sharply with the chaos of the recent past. As weeks turn to months, the sharp edges of betrayal soften, blurred by the routines of daily life and the new normal I carve out for myself. The solitude that once felt oppressive now offers peace, a sanctuary where I can rebuild my inner strength. Yet the journey is not without its setbacks. Memories of Lara intrude unexpectedly, her laugh echoing in a crowded room, a glimpse of red fabric that snaps me back to that fateful party. Each instance is a test, a momentary lapse in the fortress I've built around my heart. But with each occurrence, I learn to navigate grief a little more deftly, accepting its presence as part of my healing. A significant milestone in this journey is the finalization of our divorce. The proceedings, though markedly less dramatic than the trial, are imbued with a definitive sense of closure. As I sit across from Lara in the stark, impersonal room where our marriage is legally dissolved, the gulf between us is palpable, yet there is also a strange sense of mutual acknowledgement, a recognition of the love that once was and the pain that its end has wrought. "Goodbye, Lara," I say, as the final papers are signed, the words of benediction to our shared past. "Goodbye," she replies, her voice a whisper, her eyes not meeting mine. It's a subdued, somber end to a saga that burned too brightly, too briefly. Emerging from the lawyer's office, I feel lighter, as though a chapter has conclusively ended, allowing me to finally, fully focus on the future. I engage more with the community, participating in local events, charity functions, and business forums. Each interaction weaves me deeper into the fabric of the community, my identity evolving from the man who was betrayed to one who rose above his circumstances. In this new phase, romance cautiously re-enters my life. I meet Anna at a photography exhibition, our shared passion for art sparking a connection that is both exciting and initially terrifying. She is unaware of my past, allowing me to present myself without the shadow of scandal. As we spend more time together, the idea of trust, once so irrevocably shattered, begins to seem attainable again. Our relationship develops slowly, a contrast to the whirlwind romance with Laura. With Anna, each step is measured, each progression deliberate. It's a dance of patience and understanding that rebuilds my faith in love, in the possibility of finding someone with whom to share my life, this time on a foundation of mutual respect and honesty. One evening, as Anna and I walk through the city park, the setting sun casting long shadows on the path, I feel a profound sense of contentment. The trials, legal and personal, seem distant, chapters of a book that is continuously being written. Life is strange, isn't it? Anna muses, her hand in mine, warm and reassuring. Strange and beautiful, I agree, squeezing her hand, thinking about how the darkest moments often lead to the brightest beginnings. As the path to resolution becomes clearer, my life gains a rhythm that is both new and deeply comforting. The legacy of the past remains, but it is no longer a chain that binds me. Instead, it is a lesson that guides, a memory that informs but does not define my present. With each day, I step further into this new chapter, one marked by resilience, recovery, and renewal, a testament to the enduring human capacity to overcome, to find new meaning, and to love again. As the final stages of reassembling my life fall into place, an unexpected encounter brings the past roaring back, challenging the tranquility I've painstakingly constructed. Walking through the bustling downtown, a familiar face catches my eye, one I've both dreaded and longed to confront. Mark. He looks different, haggard, the confidence that once seemed unshakable now eroded by the consequences of his actions. Our eyes meet across the crowded street. The world slows down. The noise dims. This is a moment I've anticipated, rehearsed responses for, but now that it's here, my plans falter. Taking a deep breath, I approach him. There's no malice in my stride, only a determination to face what once tormented me. Mark, I say as I stop before him, my voice steady. He hesitates, then nods slightly. It's been a while, he replies, his tone cautious, aware of the past that binds and divides us. We need to talk, I state simply. It's not a request, but a necessity. I gesture to a nearby coffee shop, a neutral ground swathed in the aroma of espresso and the murmur of disjointed conversations. As we sit, the initial awkwardness palpable, I take the lead. I've moved on, Mark. I've rebuilt my life, found peace. My words are not boastful but reflective, conveying the journey I've endured. He shifts uncomfortably, his eyes not meeting mine. I'm glad to hear that. I've had a lot of time to think about everything that happened. The conversation that unfolds is not filled with the anger and accusations that once would have dominated. Instead, there's an understanding, a shared acknowledgement of the pain caused and the growth that followed. Mark expresses remorse, something I can see as genuine, marred by the consequences he still faces. I never meant for things to go as far as they did, he admits, his voice tinged with regret. I lost so much. Not just money or status, but respect. I'm sorry for everything. His apology does not erase the past, but it punctuates it with a note of closure. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Forgiveness is complex, layered with the memories of betrayal, but in this moment, I find a semblance of it. As we part ways, the encounter leaves me introspective, pondering the intricate tapestry of human interactions, how they can both wound and heal. Returning home, I find Anna in the garden, her presence a vivid contrast to the shadows of my past confrontations. She looks up, her smile bright, grounding. "Everything okay?" she asks, sensing the subtle shifts in my mood. "Just tying up some loose ends," I reply, joining her among the flowers whose resilience mirrors my own. The days that follow are filled with preparations for a significant venture, a new business initiative that promises to redefine my career and, in many ways, my identity. As I lay the groundwork, supported by allies both old and new, the excitement is tempered by the lessons of my past. Trust cautiously, plan meticulously. At the launch event, the atmosphere is electric, charged with potential. As I address the gathered crowd, I speak not just of business strategies and market potentials, but of integrity and innovation, values resurfaced from the ashes of my previous life's trials. Later, as the applause fades and the guests mingle, Anna joins me, her pride evident. "You did amazing," she whispers, her hand finding mine, a connection that speaks of support and shared futures. Our relationship deepens, each day together a layer added to the foundation we're building. It's a cautious dance, one where the steps of intimacy are measured and deliberate. Yet there's a passion, a connection that defies the hesitations born of past hurts. One evening, as we share a quiet dinner at home, the conversation turns to deeper reflections. "You've changed so much," Anna observes, her gaze thoughtful. "From what you've told me, from what I've seen." "I had to," I acknowledge, the flicker of candlelight casting soft shadows around us. "The past was a lesson, a harsh one. It taught me about resilience, about the value of true connections." She nods, understanding, her presence a testament to the possibility of second chances. "And now? Now I look forward," I say with a smile. "To us, to new beginnings." The conversation lingers as we talk about the future, about dreams and plans, about the steps we'll take together. It's a discussion filled with hope, a stark contrast to the dialogues of conflict that once dominated my life. As the months pass, the new business thrives, buoyed by a community that respects the comeback story, that values the transparency and integrity I now champion. Personal growth parallels professional success, each reinforcing the other. And then, one crisp autumn day, as I walk through a park where the leaves paint the ground in bursts of gold and crimson, I reflect on the journey. From the depths of betrayal to the heights of personal and professional renewal, it has been a path marked by pain but also by profound learning and unexpected joy. I pause, looking at the world around me, at the life I've crafted from the remnants of ruin. There's a peace in this moment, a sense of completion. The trials of the past are not forgotten, but they no longer define me. Instead, they are chapters in a larger story, one of resilience and rebirth. Turning my steps towards home, towards Anna and the life we are building together, I feel ready for whatever comes next. The future is uncertain, as all futures are, but it is brightly lit with promise and potential. As I open the door to the laughter and warmth waiting inside, I know that this is where my new story begins. In a home filled with love and the quiet strength of a man who has faced his demons and emerged victorious, ready to embrace whatever lies ahead with an open heart and a steadfast spirit. The soft click of the door closing behind me marks the end of a long, transformative journey. Standing in the quiet of our living room, I take a moment to absorb the changes, the new life I've crafted from the ashes of betrayal. The walls, once a gallery of shared memories with Laura, now display abstract art and photographs of new horizons, each frame a declaration of moving forward. Anna is in the kitchen, the sound of her humming a gentle melody that weaves through the air, calming and familiar. She's preparing dinner, something aromatic and warm that fills the space between us with the promise of a shared future. "I was thinking," she calls out, her voice light, carrying over the sound of sizzling. "Maybe next month we could go to Paris. You've always wanted to show me where you went to college." The idea sparks a thrill of excitement. Paris, with its cobblestone streets and riverside cafes, holds pieces of my past, and the prospect of revisiting it with Anna to make new memories feels like the perfect next chapter. Sounds perfect, I reply, smiling at the thought. We talk about the places I'll show her, the little bakery with the best croissants, the quaint bookshop by the Seine. It's a plan that feels full of hope, weaving the past with the future, acknowledging where I've been and where I'm going. As dinner progresses, the conversation turns reflective. You've come so far, Anna says, her eyes meeting mine across the table. Do you ever think about how it all changed? I do, I admit. The trial, the revelations, the rebuilding. It's a narrative arc that I revisit in quieter moments, each reflection bringing new insights. It was a crucible. It forged me, tested my limits. And you emerged stronger, she adds, reaching for my hand. Her touch is reassuring, grounding. Yes, stronger and I hope wiser. I squeeze her hand, grateful for her support, for the stability she represents in my once turbulent life. After dinner, I find myself at my desk, reviewing the final chapters of a book I've been writing. It's a memoir of sorts, a narrative constructed from the most challenging period of my life. Writing it has been therapeutic, a way to process and order the chaos that once seemed to define my existence. As I type the last sentences, I reflect on the key themes: trust, betrayal, resilience. These are not just abstract concepts. They're the very pillars of my story, the lessons etched deep into my character. The manuscript complete, I lean back in my chair, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment. Sharing my story isn't just about closing a chapter. It's about offering hope to others who might be facing their own battles, their own dark nights of the soul. The next morning, as I send the manuscript to my publisher, the early sunlight streams through the window, casting long golden beams across the floor. It feels symbolic, this light, like the dawn of a new day. Anna and I spend the day together, walking in the nearby park, enjoying the simple, unhurried rhythm of our life. It's a stark contrast to the days of courtroom dramas and whispered conspiracies. Now there's just the rustle of leaves, the laughter of children playing in the distance, the peaceful cadence of our conversation. As the day fades into evening, we sit on a park bench watching the sunset. The sky is a canvas of oranges and pinks, breathtaking in its beauty. It's like the world is putting on a show just for us, Anna murmurs, leaning her head on my shoulder. It does feel that way, doesn't it? I agree, feeling her warmth against me. In this moment, the past seems like a distant land, one that I have traveled far from. This is just the beginning, you know, I say after a moment, thinking about the future, about the possibilities that stretch out before us. Anna lifts her head, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. The beginning of what? Everything, I say. And it's true. The trials, the pain, the triumph, all of it has led to this point, this chance to start anew, not just to survive, but to thrive. We talk about the future as we head home, about the book launch, about trips we want to take, about dreams that are slowly shaping into plans. It's a conversation full of promise, a mutual sketching of a life we're building together, piece by piece. That night, as I lay in bed beside Anna, her breathing soft and even in sleep, I think about the journey. From the shattering betrayal to the quiet, steadfast love that now defines my days. It's been a path of profound transformation. The story of my past is complete, penned and ready for the world to read. But the story of my future is just beginning, a narrative waiting to be written, rich with potential and hope. And as I drift off to sleep, I feel a deep, enduring peace, the kind that comes from having navigated the storm and found safe harbor. Tomorrow, like every day, offers a new page to be written, and I am ready to fill it with life, with love, and with the continued journey of a man reborn.